Brahmavacha iti tad grinatam tesham muninam yoga dharminam pratinandya jagadedam vikuntha nilayo vibhu. Synonyms. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Brahmavacha, Lord Brahma said, iti thus, tat speech, grinatam praising, tesham of them, muninam, those four sages, yoga dharminam, engaged in thinking with the Supreme. Pratinandya, after congratulating, Jagada said, idam, these words, Vikuntha Nilaya, whose abode is bereft of anxiety, Vibhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation, Lord Brahma said, after thus congratulating the sages for their nice words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose abode is in the kingdom of God, spoke as follows. Next text. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Etao Tao Parshadao Mahyam Jayo Vijaya Evacha Kadarthi Kritya Mam Yadbo Bhavakratam Atikraman. Synonyms, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of God had said, Etao, these two, Tao, they, Parshadao, attendants, Mahyam, of mine, Jaya, name Jaya, Vijaya, name Vijay, Eva, certainly, Cha, and Kadarti Kritya, by ignoring, Mam, may, Yat, which, Vah, against you, Bahu, great, Akratam, have committed, Atikramam, offense. Translation, the personality of God had said, these attendants of mine, Jaya and Vijaya, by name, have committed a great offense against you because of ignoring me. Purport. To commit an offense at the feet of a devotee of the Lord is a great wrong. Even when a living entity is promoted to Vaikuntha, there's still the chance that he may commit offenses. But the difference is that when one is in a Vaikuntha planet, even if by chance one commits an offense, he is protected by the Lord. This is the remarkable fact in dealings of the Lord and the servitor, as seen in the present incident concerning Jaya and Vijaya. The word Atikramam used herein indicates that in offending a devotee, one neglects the Supreme Lord himself. By mistake, the domain held the sages from entering Vaikuntha Loka, but because they were engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, their annihilation was not expected by advanced devotees. The Lord's presence on the spot was very pleasing to the heart of the devotees. The Lord understood that the trouble was due to his lotus feet not being seen by the sages, and therefore he wanted to please them by personally going there. The Lord is so merciful that even if there is some impediment for the devotee, he himself manages matters in such a way that the devotee is not bereft of having audience of his lotus feet. There is a very good example in the life of Haridas Thakur. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was residing in Jagannath Puri, Haridas Thakur, who happened to be Mohammedan by birth, was with him. In Hindu temples, especially in those days, no one but a Hindu was allowed to enter. Although Haridas Thakur was the greatest of all Hindus in his behavior, he considered himself a Mohammedan and did not enter the temple. Lord Chaitanya could understand his humility, and since he did not go to the temple, Lord Chaitanya himself, who is non-different from Jagannath, used to come and sit with Haridas Thakur daily. Here in Srimad Bhagavatam, we also find the same behavior of the Lord, his devotees were prevented from seeing his lotus feet, but the Lord himself came to see them on the same lotus feet for which they aspired. It is also significant that he was accompanied by the goddess of fortune. The goddess of fortune is not only seen by ordinary persons, but the Lord was so kind that although the devotees did not aspire for such an honor, he appeared before them with the goddess of fortune. Hare Krishna. Om Agnyantimirandassya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishna Bhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Manchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Putale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. So thank you once again, dear devotees, for joining this morning. As I was reading the purport of Srila Prabhupada, you all must have heard this loud motorcycle which went by, so disturbing early morning. And I was just thinking in my mind that matter and spirit, here the Bhagavatam, the shlokas, that's also sound. Prabhupada's words, that's also sound. Vani, that's written. And whatever is so transcendental, spiritual, it is nectarian, it is sweet. And there is this material sound which is so jarring and so disturbing. And of course, it started and it ended. It went away. It momentarily disturbed us and it went away. Whereas at the same time, one may say that, oh, the purport is over. There's no longer sound. This class perhaps will be for another 20 minutes or so. That also ends. But no, that sound, the transcendental sound, Krishna Katha, Mahamantra, that remains forever. How it remains forever is that those impressions that it creates in our consciousness, and it goes and directly touches our soul. And of course, the degree to which it touches the soul is to the level of attention that we pay to it. The more attention, the more focus that we are in listening to Krishna Katha, in listening to the Mahamantra when we are chanting it, the more deeper will be that impression, the more effect it will have. Hare Krishna. So today we are starting a new chapter, chapter 16. This is where Jay and Vijay, the doorkeepers, are cursed by the four sages. It has led up to this point, correct? So we know the background of what has happened over here. Though we are starting a new chapter, please keep in mind, dear devotees, that it's always new. That's another characteristic of whatever is spiritual. It's always new. It never gets old. Over here, we have something that, birth, old age, disease, death. So there is a cycle. It keeps moving. Change, the cycle of change. But in the spiritual world, things never get old. It is as is, fresh as ever. So what this means to us reading books is that these books are like your best friend. We read a chapter today. You may finish the Bhagavatam once. You go through the second round of reading the Bhagavatam. There's so much familiarity, like meeting a friend, a well-wisher. There'll be new realizations that come up every time you read, no matter how many times you read, even the same subject matter you read over and over again. Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, perfect questions, perfect answers, any transcendental literature. It's like your best friend. It reveals new and new realizations when we read it. Nitya Navina. So today's learning focus is Vaishnava Aparad. What is the cause and effect? This first point we had discussed a couple of weeks ago. It's a continuation of the same. So it will be just a recap. Then Krishna. Today's theme is Krishna protects his devotee. So we'll understand why Krishna protects his devotee and how he protects. What about others? You know, Krishna is the universal father. Aren't others his children? Doesn't he protect them? So we'll understand what it means by Krishna protects his devotees. And then finally, surrender. How, why, and how. So it comes to this point of surrender. So Vaishnava Aparad, this is a revision. You know, the cause is an attitude that we have. Then it's also caused by the attachments, you know, all these material attachments that we have. And then also based on whatever company that we keep. So attitude, attachment, and sangha. Attitude could be a careless attitude. Attitude could be familiarity. We are all in Vaishnava Sanghas. We don't realize the importance of each other. We don't see what value people have. 2-3 days back, Hari Kishore Prabhu, Simheshwar Prabhu, and Dattatreya Prabhu, there was a point being discussed in the Bhagavad Gita class. And my God, the level of realization, the answers to the queries and doubts, it was like literally, it was like churning of nectar. We were feeling that, you know, the Devas and the Asuras were churning the ocean, and, you know, that nectar came out. And I thought in our modern day times, this is what is happening. The Asuras are all is ignorance. We don't understand what stuff is. Here we're trying to do it. And here these devotees came, and the level of realizations that they gave, fantastic. So we don't realize these devotees' value and just treat them casually. And that, you know, starts the aparad that we cause. Attachment, of course, we all know attachment, and asat sangha, people who are not like-minded. So this is the typical cause. And then what effect it has is destructive, spiritual, destroyed, even the mental gets very badly out of balance, and then physical. So this is what is the cause and effect of offenses caused to a Vaishnav, what they say, Vaishnav Aparad. This is another chart on the internet I had found. I have it written somewhere. Very nice, a full explanation on Vaishnav Aparad. I can share the link if you're interested, write to me. So Asat Sangha, this particular thing, how it comes, attachment, association, and the attachments further, it is described. You know, from our previous lives, these samskaras have been ingrained in our consciousness, in our mind, and that's what it keeps reflecting. Like that Bhagavad Gita class, I think it was Simeshwar Prabhu who said, the mind is like a mirror, and all these samskaras, all it's doing is it's reflecting. And whatever is the conscious, the soul, the Atma, keeps running and looking over there, keeps running and looking over there. And whenever it is looking, you know, it gets caught up in that. So these, and prejudices we have. I like this, I hate that, yay, whoa, whatever it is there. So now Krishna, today's theme, Krishna protects his devotee. Why and how? Look at this picture, so nice. It tells us so many things. That Prabhupada, he came over here, he suffered multiple heart attacks. The other day, Savita and I were talking about Prabhupada. And what we were saying is, literally when Prabhupada got out of the ship, he didn't know whether to go left or whether to go right. All he had was 40 rupees with him. He had a trunk full of pulses and whatever to make his khichdi, and a few clothes, and many, many, many books is what he had. So that's what he comes with. A 69-year-old man comes here, and it's so cold. Doesn't, but what he had is full dependence on Krishna. Full dependence on Krishna. And when we have dependence on Krishna, this is what Krishna literally does. His hand comes on the shoulder, I'm there, and his other hand comes on our forehead, thinking, clarity in that thinking. This is what, when I see this picture, it tells me. So point number one, we should understand that Krishna is the Supreme Father, Radha Rani is the Supreme Mother. Of course, the Shastras teach us that there are 7 types of mother, Guru Ma, the biological mother, the Daima, the ruler's wife, Guru's wife, and so on and so forth, Mother Cow, Mother Earth. So yes, they are mothers, but these mothers are temporary, and it changes. When we leave a body, you get another body, it changes. So, but Krishna and Radha Rani, they are the supreme, the original, right? Now, what it is if you understand, father protects and mother nurtures. Father gives protection, mother does nurturing. So again, to prepare for this class, I was discussing with Savita, give me some examples. So she brought out a very good example of mother nurturing. Now, all mothers, Mataji, all of you who are there, Dandvat Pranam, for the service that you have done and you are doing. What a mother does is she literally, the child grows in her womb. And Savita was telling me an interesting fact, even in the material context, that when a child needs calcium, the fetus needs calcium, which the calcium it gets from whatever the mother eats. Now, suppose the mother is not eating proper diet, which doesn't give enough quota of calcium, the child doesn't suffer. The child takes it from the mother's bones. See, this is literally the mother feeds the child of her own very self, of her own very self. And once the child comes out again, she's still nurturing. And what does father do? Father provides shelter. Protection is shelter. What is shelter? Dhanudhar Maharaj said, shelter is a place where all your needs can be met. So whatever need is there, need of the body, need of the mind, emotional, spirit, everything, the father takes care of. Of course, in the material world, we material fathers try to provide to the best of our abilities. Our abilities are limited, but Krishna, being unlimited, provides the perfect shelter. On the topic of shelter, Romapad Maharaj recently in Japa retreat mentioned we aren't able to chant properly because we don't take Krishna as the ultimate shelter. We don't take shelter of Krishna. We make shelter and we make our own arrangements. मेरे में काबिलियत है, मेरे में बहुत बल है, whatever that bal be, strength be, either my intellectual or my wealth or my status or my, we all have this. We don't just take up Krishna's shelter. We depend on that. And when we take our own shelter, it's all faulty. So no matter whatever we do in that shelter only turns out to be faulty. For example, my chanting, it's faulty. So this is what a father does. Point number 2, keep in mind, is Krishna's protection is for all. Now here it says is very specifically, Krishna protects his devotees. So what we can understand is Krishna's protection is available for all, everybody, even his enemies. He provides that shelter. Very simple. You look at it over here, Mother Earth. Our earth is made in such a way, perfect. Nature is perfect. It's made in such a way that literally the sun's UV ray, science says, if there is no protective layer, the atmosphere, we will just actually fizzle. We will just sizzle to death. That how powerful it is. But we have this protective covering. Who has provided that? Of course, material energy, but who is material energy's order working on whom? It's coming. So we understand how this material nature has come. So it is Krishna. He protects everybody. It's everybody. Now, what is this protection for his devotees? A little special. Now, We have this choice whether to accept his shelter or make our own arrangement. So bodily shelter, everything is for all. Everyone is provided the equal opportunity. It's up to us whether we take that opportunity or we reject it. So Romapad Maharaj, again, he had explained, there was a question asked, mercy is for the unqualified. So what is it that we're doing to qualify for mercy? Why do we say, oh, I have to qualify for mercy? We are doing this sadhana. Sadhana is so that we can bring us to a platform of goodness. And from there, we can transcend the modes of material nature by getting to the Shuddha Sattva, pure goodness, no tinge of this and that. So Romapad Maharaj said that mercy is like sunshine. It is there for everyone, everywhere. All you have to do is step out into it. We choose to remain in a dark basement, doing our own little things. And we don't want to go out in the sunshine. So the very process that we take of climbing the stairs, opening the door, main door, and getting out into the sunshine, that is the qualificatory process. And that qualificatory process we understand is our sadhana. That, it's pulling us up. Chalo, each step you take, we are taking 1-2 steps forward, then again slipping back because of habit. We're not used to climbing the step. We find it so difficult. Then point number 3, oh, okay, my mistake. To make mistake is one of the attribute of the material condition. Krishna's special protection for devotee. Okay. What devotee does is he makes special arrangements to seek Krishna's protection. So Krishna sees, Arey, ye mera bacha, this little child of mine, is crawling towards me. He's trying to climb these steps. He's falling over there. So it is said, Bhavagrahi, right? So what Krishna does is he sees the bhava, the mood in which we are doing, the sincerity. He sees the intent. He sees the intent. He sees the effort that we're putting in all this. And when he sees that, it pleases him very much. Never mind, we tumble and fall. Doesn't matter. He's there. What a father does when a child is learning to walk, he's crawling, correct? The child will be crawling. He tries to stand up again, he falls. Then the father gives his little finger and the child can stand up. So this is what Krishna does. Now, if there is a child who's sitting in his own room and doing his own thing, and he's not coming to the father, he's not putting his hands out to the father, like, please give me your support. Father says, okay, learn. That is also, in fact, a kind of mercy, but that's a little more deep. We won't have enough time to cover. So devotee makes these special arrangements. So all the time we should be thinking of any act that we're doing, just let us look at it as, here is what I'm making an arrangement to seek Krishna's protection. My Guru Maharaj the other day was saying, I was listening to the lecture, we have all these lovely festivals coming up in a row. So in these festivals, these are temples are there so that we have it's their mercy. When a temple manifests, it's Krishna and Radharani's mercy, the mother and father's mercy for their children, so that we can engage in their service. That's the whole purpose of it. And of course, we have temples in our heart, we have temples in our home. So that's all the time we should be thinking of how I can serve. So that service is this attitude that we have is the special arrangement to seek his protection. Another example in a mundane sense is we have speed limits. Speed limit is there for everybody. The person who obeys the speed limit is within the shelter of the law. There's also safety for him. The person who doesn't, he'll cause accident and whatever are the consequences. Similarly, if you see now, there are these vehicles that are so advanced that even if you're momentarily distracted, looking here and there, and the vehicle is going to collide with another object, vehicle or whatever it is, automatically the brake, it detects and automatically the brakes engage, saving that person from the distraction which he had. Same way over here, Jay and Vijay, momentarily they were distracted. And then Krishna has made this arrangement. So a devotee, just look at this as a devotee has opted. You have various options when you go to buy a car. You have various options, and the more options you choose, the higher the price goes up for it. So just look at it as Krishna has these options available for all. And if in the sense you're making an analogy, we make the analogy, what is the price we pay? The price is the seva that we do. So the more seva that we do, the more of these safety features is it becomes available to us. How we do it is Sarva Dharman Parityaja, the sum and bonum of Bhagavad Gita. Abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender unto me. I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not worry. Surrender. Surrender is stop depending on our own shelter, physical, mental, emotional, our ideas of spiritual. Stop all that and simply surrender to Krishna and his representatives. Yes, there's nothing I know, and whatever you tell me is I follow. Now, in surrender, one very important point to keep in mind, Prabhupada's instruction, surrender with intelligence, don't surrender your intelligence. Don't do it blindly. Don't do it emotionally. Don't do it impulsively. What happens is then we can get exploited. We become fanatics. It closes everything out over here. So surrender with intelligence. Understand things as they are. Have questions, ask, you'll get these answers. And don't just accept it. Of course, the spiritual master is never wrong. Last night in Prabhupada Leelamrit, I read that. I have a habit of reading before I go up to sleep. I read Prabhupada Leelamrit, and Prabhupada was, initial days, he was in a lot of anxiety that devotees were coming up with their own concoction. And one devotee asked Prabhupada that, what were you in your past life? And are you perfect? Things like that. So, of course, we are ignorant. Very nicely, Prabhupada explains that. So this intelligence is what we have to use to understand things as they are. The right thing from the right source. So here's this picture. Here's Krishna, where with a pure devotee, and in that stage where we are still impure, you need to take the shelter of Krishna's mercy representative. That's the Guru. So Prabhu's, Mataji's, this is what my realizations and understanding is based on so many Vaishnavas. What we've heard, I've shared with you. Anyone has a question or comment, we can post it in Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amritananda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day and weekend ahead. A weekend, a month filled with festivities. Govindas will be on with a buffet tomorrow from 12 to 3. Let's offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Shina Singho, Jai Singho, Jai Singho, Jai
Praladesha, Jai
Bandha Bringa,
Ugram,
Gravina, Vishnu, Sarvakam, Singh Bhagwan ki, Rad Maharaj ki, Jai. Let us offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha Pavane Vaishnave Namo Namaha. Vaishnavinda ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Premanande.
Thank you so much, Amritananda.
Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.